For more than 20 years, it was the aircraft that carried Delta's ambitions across oceans, from Atlanta to Sydney, from New York to Johannesburg. The Boeing 777 was more than just a machine. It was a symbol, a giant of the skies, connecting continents, bridging cultures, and representing Delta's strength on the world stage. And yet, in 2020, Delta made a decision that stunned passengers, aviation fans, and even its own employees. The airline retired the Boeing 777, ending an era that many thought would last forever. Why would an airline walk away from such an icon? And what does this bold decision tell us about the future of Delta? Tonight, we uncover the story. The retirement of the Boeing 777 was not just a technical decision. It was an emotional one. For aviation fans, the 777 was legendary. It was powerful. It was dependable. And for Delta, it was the aircraft that helped open doors to new parts of the world. When Delta first introduced the Boeing 777 in 1999, it was seen as a game-changer. The airline operated both the 777-200ER and the ultra-long-range 777-200LR. These aircraft gave Delta a new kind of freedom. Suddenly, the airline could launch ambitious non-stop flights across the Pacific to Asia, and even further, like the marathon journey from Los Angeles to Sydney, or from Atlanta to Johannesburg. The 777 gave Delta reach, and with reach came prestige. For travelers, stepping aboard a Delta 777 felt like stepping into the future. The aircraft's wide cabin, long-haul comfort, and sheer capability gave passengers a sense of confidence. For pilots and crew, the 777 was a trusted partner. It was powerful, yet refined, capable of flying farther than almost anything else at the time. But as every story teaches us, legends, no matter how beloved, eventually face their limits. By 2020, the world was changing. The aviation industry was facing a crisis like no other. The COVID-19 pandemic wiped out international demand almost overnight. Aircraft that once flew full across oceans suddenly sat parked on the ground. For airlines like Delta, every decision became a matter of survival. And the 777, once a symbol of strength, was now a heavy burden. It wasn't that the 777 was unreliable. In fact, Delta ES Chief Operating Officer praised the jet as a reliable part of Delta E's success since its very first flight. It wasn't that the 777 lacked capability. The 777-200LR could fly farther than almost anything in the fleet, but power and range come at a cost. The 777 was heavy. It burned more fuel. It demanded more maintenance hours. And when passenger demand collapsed, flying an aircraft like the 777 made little financial sense. This was not just a business decision. It was a strategic shift. Delta had long been a champion of fleet simplification. Fewer aircraft types meant easier crew scheduling, cheaper maintenance, and more efficient logistics. The 777, for all its glory, didn't fit into that strategy anymore, especially when Delta already had a new generation of wide-bodies ready to take over, the Airbus A350 and the A330neo. Delta's decision to retire all 18 of its Boeing 777 in 2020 was shocking in scale. This wasn't a gradual phase-out. This was decisive, sudden, and complete. Aviation fans mourned. Online forums filled with nostalgia. Some called for Delta to retire its aging 757s and 767s instead, arguing that those aircraft were even older than the 777. But Delta was a TUT thinking about age alone. It was thinking about efficiency, economics, and the future. The numbers tell the story. Replacing the 777 with the Airbus A350 cut fuel burn by over 20% on comparable flights. The A330neo offered nearly the same passenger capacity as the 777, while burning even less fuel. Together, these aircraft gave Delta everything the 777 once offered, but with lower costs, greener operations, and more modern cabin products for passengers. Still, the emotional farewell was undeniable. For the employees who worked on the Tripol 7, for the crews who flew it across oceans, and for the passengers who made memories on its long-haul journeys, the retirement felt personal. This was more than a machine. It was history. It was the aircraft that carried families on dream vacations, that brought business travelers to new markets, that helped Delta connect the world in ways no other aircraft could at the time. And yet, nostalgia alone cannot drive the future of an airline. Delta had to think beyond memory, beyond emotion, beyond the romance of the Tripol 7's iconic silhouette. It had to make choices that would define its survival in a post-pandemic world. And so, the airline doubled down on its modern Airbus fleet. The A350 stepped in as the new flagship. It offered similar ultra-long-haul capabilities to the Tripol 7-200LR, but with advanced systems, lighter weight, and more efficient engines. The A330neo, meanwhile, proved to be almost tailor-made for Delta's transatlantic and medium to long-haul routes. It consumed less fuel while carrying nearly the same number of passengers as the Tripol 7. Together, these aircraft didn't just replace the Tripol 7, they redefined Delta's long-haul strategy. But even in strategy, there is sentiment. Aviation forums and communities buzzed with debate. Was this the right call? Was Delta giving up a legend too soon? Many pointed to the uniqueness of the Tripol 7-200LR's capabilities. Its ability to fly non-stop from Atlanta to Johannesburg was unmatched. Could the A350 truly fill that role? Others noted the comfort and character of the Tripol 7, the way it felt compared to newer aircraft. To them, retiring the Tripol 7 wasn't just a business move, it was the end of an era. Delta knew this reaction was coming. But in aviation, nostalgia doesn't pay the fuel bills. Strategy does. The decision also aligned with a bigger picture: sustainability, cost efficiency, global competitiveness. By retiring the Tripol 7s, Delta positioned itself as a leaner, greener, stronger airline coming out of the pandemic. It was not just about cutting costs, it was about modernizing performance, about meeting new environmental standards, about giving passengers upgraded cabin experiences. For Delta, keeping the Tripol 7 would have meant investing heavily in cabin refurbishments and maintenance for an aircraft that was already less efficient than its replacements. That math didn't add up. The farewell to the Tripol 7, then, was bittersweet. It was emotional but logical, painful but necessary. For passengers and crew, it was goodbye to a legend. For Delta, it was a bold step toward the future. And so, on October 31, 2020, the final Delta Tripol 7 flight took off. Ironically, not on one of the ultra-long-haul routes it was built for, but on a much shorter journey, from New York JFK to Los Angeles. A giant designed to cross oceans, making its last stand on a transcontinental hop. In that moment, it was both poetic and poignant. A legend bowing out, not with thunder, but with grace. Today, Delta's skies look different. The A350s and A330neos now dominate its long-haul operations. The Tripol 7s are gone. But the story of their retirement lives on, not just as an aviation milestone, but as a lesson in strategy. In the airline industry, emotion may inspire loyalty, but strategy determines survival. For Delta, the retirement of the Boeing Tripol 7 was not the end of a legacy. It was the beginning of a leaner, stronger, more sustainable future. The Tripol 7 will always have its place in Delta's history. But in the skies above, a new chapter has begun.